Lister Motor Company. The Lister Motor Company Ltd is a British sports car manufacturer founded by Brian Lister in 1954 in Cambridge, England, which became known for its involvement in motorsport. After buying the company in 1986, Laurence Pearce produced variants of the Jaguar XJS before producing a bespoke sports car, the Lister Storm. In 2013, Lister Cars was acquired by Lawrence Whittaker's company Warrantywise. Production of the original sports car restarted in 2014, and 10 continuation Lister Jaguar Knobblys were built to celebrate Lister's 60th anniversary. In 2016, the company announced the build and sale of the Lister Knobbly Stirling Moss. On 31 January 2018, the Lister LFT-666, previously called the Lister Thunder based on the Jaguar F-Type, was announced. History. George Lister and Sons. Beginning in 1954, company manager and racing driver Brian Lister brought out the first in a series of sports cars from a Cambridge iron works. Inspired by Cooper, he used a tubular ladder chassis, Didion rear axle, and inboard drum brakes. Like others, he used a tuned MG engine and stock gearbox. It made its debut at the British Empire Trophy at Alton Park in 1954 with former MG driver Archie Scott Brown at the wheel. Later, Lister swapped in a more tuned Bristol 2-liter engine and knockoff wire wheels in place of the MG discs to improve performance. For the sports car race supporting the 1954 British Grand Prix at Silverstone, Scott Brown won the 2-liter class and placed 5th overall behind only works Aston Martins. In 1955, a handful of Lister Bristols were built with a new body built by an ex-Bristol employee with the aid of a wind tunnel. Despite its new fins and strakes, it was less successful than the original Lister Bristol of 1954. Lister moved up to a 6-cylinder motor from a Formula 2 Maserati A6 GCS for their own car, while customers continued to receive the Bristol motor, sold for £3,900. Lister also attempted single-seater racing with a multi-tube chassis powered by a Coventry Climax motor and using an MG gearbox, but the car was a failure. For 1957, Lister redesigned the car around a 3.4-liter Jaguar D-Type XK inline 6 with an aerodynamic aluminium body. It was tested by racing journalist John Balster, performing a 0-100 mph 0-160 km/h run in 11.2 seconds. Driver Archie Scott Brown won the 1957 British Empire Trophy in the new Lister Jaguar. Refined again in 1958, the Lister Jaguar entered international competitions. Brown was killed that season when he crashed the Lister Jaguar at Spa-Francorchamps. Lister also developed another single-seater car based on the Lister Jaguar for use in the unique Race of Two Worlds at Monza. Cars from this era are affectionately known as the Lister Knobbly cars due to their curved bodywork. For 1959, Lister hired aerodynamicist Frank Costin, who produced entirely new bodywork built around a new Chevrolet Corvette power plant. However, the front engine layout of the new Lister Chevrolet was quickly eclipsed by the rear engine layout of the new Cooper sports car. By the end of 1959, Lister withdrew from competition, although production of sports cars continued for customers. In 1963, Brian Lister was chosen by the Roots Group to prepare the Sunbeam Tiger. The Ford Vate-powered Tiger was still in the early stages of development while Lister was constructing the chassis at the Jensen factory. Lister upgraded the suspension and brakes, added an aerodynamic fastback hardtop with a more sloping windscreen and a cam tail. The 260 Cu 4,300 cc Ford Vate engine was tuned by Carroll Shelby in order to allow it to produce 275 HP 205 kW instead of the 160 HP 120 kW. The car was designed with a top speed of 170 mph 270 km/h in mind, but were developed in a short time frame and suffered engine failures. Roots later received a refund for the engines. The two cars and one prototype mule still exist. The failure of the cars and Rootes' bankruptcy led to the demise of Lister's tuning work as well. Pearce ownership. The Lister Company returned in 1986 as Lister Cars Limited, based in Leatherhead, Surrey, with engineer Laurence Pearce, tuning approximately 90 Jaguar XJS and improving their top speed to over 200 mph 322 km/h, with an asking price of over £100,000. Success at this endeavor led the newly formed company to design a new sports car, the Lister Storm. Launched in 1993, it would use the largest V12 engine ever fitted to a production car at that time, a 7.0L unit derived from the Jaguar XJR9. The Storm was later developed for motorsport in various guises, winning the FIA GT Championship in 2000. Lister later developed a bespoke Le Mans prototype, the Storm LMP, in 2003. Whittaker ownership. In 2012, Lawrence Whittaker and his father visited the Lister factory to source parts when restoring a Lister Knobbly, and the opportunity to purchase the Lister Motor Company arose. In 2013, ownership of George Lister Engineering Limited of Cambridge, original intellectual property rights, the plans and drawings for all original Lister cars, as well as the property rights of Pearce's Lister cars, were bought by father and son Andrew and Lawrence Whittaker, who also own car warranty company Warrantywise. The new company, along with its associated partners, was rebranded as the Lister Motor Company Ltd. 10 months later, the Lister Motor Company announced the build and sale of the Lister Knobbly to mark 60 years since the first Lister racing car was built. Current products. 60th Anniversary Lister Knobbly. The new company started building of the original Lister designs in 2014. To celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Lister Motor Company, the release of the Lister Knobbly was announced, described as the most successful racing car of the late 1950s. The Lister Knobbly was driven by some of the most notable racing car drivers of the 50s, including Archie Scott Brown, Stirling Moss, Ivor Bogue, Bruce Hafford, and Innes Ireland, amongst many others. Within a matter of weeks, half of the 60th anniversary Lister race cars were sold out. Soon after, the order book was completely full and Lister had orders for £5. Lister Knobbly Stirling Moss Edition. In June 2016, the Lister Motor Company announced the build and sale of the Lister Knobbly Stirling Moss at the Royal Automobile Club in London. The car is built to the exact specification of the 1958 model and is the only magnesium-bodied car in the world and only the second car in history endorsed by legendary racing driver Sir Stirling Moss. Brian Lister invited Sir Stirling Moss to drive for Lister on 3 separate occasions: at Goodwood in 1954, Silverstone in 1958, and at Sebring in 1959, and to celebrate these races, 10 special edition lightweight Lister Knobbly cars are being built and priced at £1 sterling million each. The company announced that the cars will be available for both road and race use, and Sir Stirling Moss will personally be handing over each car. Lister LFT-666. The Lister Stealth. In August 2020, the Lister Motor Company launched Britain's fastest SUV, the Lister Stealth. Based on the Jaguar F-Pace, the Stealth uses a Lister-modified version of the 5.0-liter supercharged V8 engine found in the factory F-Pace SVR to achieve a power output of 666 bhp, 497 kW, and 881 N, and 650 lb-ft of torque. The Stealth accelerates from 0-97 km/h 0-60 mph in 3.6 seconds and boasts a top speed of 314 km/h 195 mph. The Stealth adds proof to its claim of being Britain's fastest SUV after beating the Lamborghini Urus, Aston Martin Vantage, and McLaren 570 GT in a drag race at the renowned testing ground, Miami X200. Other modifications include upgraded supercharger pulleys, custom intercoolers, performance air filtration, a stainless steel quad exhaust system with switchable valves, Lister Design 23 Vossen forged wheels, and a custom-made carbon fiber performance and styling body kit. The luxurious interior of the Stealth features bridge of wear, Napa leather with a multitude of customization options available, including up to 36 individual color choices and 90 different stitching options to make each Stealth truly bespoke to its owner. As with every Lister model, exclusivity is guaranteed with a limited production run, only 100 earmarked for production worldwide, with a base price of £109,950, and owners will receive access to the exclusive Lister Drivers Club.